Hello and welcome to Prime Business with me, Pius Kojo Baka. Minister of Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, has stated that Ghana's economy is improving and recovering to pre-COVID era. He made this statement based on projections that the economy would grow by 3.1% in the first quarter of the year, but instead surged to 5.8%. He also applauded industry players for their significant contribution to this development. Dr. Amin Adam made these remarks at the 13th edition of the Ghana Association of Industries Quality Awards 2024. More from Helen Nakai Ayi.
The Association of Ghana Industries hosted the 13th edition of the AGI Ghana Industry and Quality Awards 2024, uniting industry leaders, innovators, and policymakers to celebrate excellence in Ghana's industrial sector. The event was themed Navigating the Uncertainties of Our Business Landscape to Sustain Productivity. During the ceremony, Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam stated that Ghana's economy is recovering to the pre-COVID era.
Economists will say it has recovered. It has recovered because last year we projected to grow at 1.5%. We grew at 2.9%. This year, by the first half of the year, we're supposed to have grown by 3.1%. We grew at 5.8%. Let me emphasize that the half-year growth 2024 is more than half-year growth in 2019 by 0.4 percentage points. And this is why some of us are optimistic that this economy is returning to the pre-COVID growth trajectory. I would like to pay tribute to you, industry, for the role you have played in growing our economy.
Meanwhile, the president of the Association of Ghana Industries, Dr. Humphrey Eyim-Dake, appealed to the Minister of Finance to reform Act 891 and tax policies to alleviate burdens on private sector businesses.
When you adhere to and look at the Act 891, it will also help you in the Fisher's equation, where you bring about the stability. And the Fisher's equation talks about what? The nominal interest rate and the real interest rate plus inflation. So that when the Bank of Ghana deploys the monetary policy tools, in where all things are equal, when inflation goes down, the nominal interest rate must go down. This anomaly, you're a student of economics. Respectfully, we believe, go and re-look at Act 891. We are willing to engage you to bring reasonable stability and predictability to business. Finally, we have also embraced tax reforms that all the two political parties are itching to bring up in as to whoever reigns. We really need tax reforms. The complications in our tax positions are not good for business.
The event emphasized the importance of collaboration between policymakers and industry leaders in driving economic growth.
Executive Director of the Fisheries Commission, Fred Ntwi-Boadu, is cautioning fisherfolk against bad fishing practices that would cause a reduction in the yield. According to him, over 10% of the country's population is directly dependent on the sector, hence the need to adopt sustainable practices that will not deplete the fisheries resources. He was speaking at the celebration of the World Fisheries Day here in Accra.
Ghana earned about $254 million from export of fish and fishery products in 2022. If well managed, the sector could contribute significantly to the socio-economic development of the country, as production is expected to reach 202,980 metric tons in 2024. Speaking at a ceremony to mark World Fisheries Day, Executive Director of the Fisheries Commission, Fred Ntwi-Boadu, said a surest way to build the sector to engage in sustainable and innovative fishing practices.
As we celebrate this day, let's take a moment to appreciate the progress we've made over the past decade. And I urge all of us to reaffirm our commitment to sustainable fisheries while adopting innovative, sustainable exploitation, utilization, and administrative practices to safeguard our fisheries resources and the livelihood of those who depend on it.
Senior Fisheries Officer at the Food and Agricultural Organization, Indiaga Guye, urged the fisher folks to adapt to the changing climate by strengthening the resilience of the fisheries sector.
Climate change also is a major threat, disrupting fish migration patterns and contributing to environmental change that affect the productivity of our ecosystem. Pollution and the impact of illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing are eroding the marine ecosystem, putting at risk the very resource on which we depend. These challenges remind us that while fisheries have sustained us in the past, we must take immediate steps.
Thanks so much for watching Prime Business. I am Pius Kojo Baka. I leave you with EU for today.
But you have the time. You have to sacrifice. You see, typically around exam week, in your preparation towards exam is where you start asking yourself, so what did I do with all the time from the beginning of the semester? Because the day before the exam or 2 days before the exam, you can finish probably a big textbook and you'll be surprised. But the same textbook, beginning of semester, you pick it and it's like, I said check UFO. Time is in the mind. You have plenty time. I don't want to spend it. Look, there are people, those who travel outside, at least, look, some of them are working 3, 4 jobs. There are a lot of people who are working today who are students. Weekends for 2 years, or masters. Weekend school, Saturday, Sunday, zero life. Wedding on Kobe, Valentine, on DB. 2 years, Saturday, Sunday. They start from about 7, 8 o'clock. They close about 6 p.m. They have kids. Boss, you have time, find it. Sit down and look. I'm not saying it's a yesterday we discussed that interestingly. It's a but you have the time. You have to sacrifice. You cannot do everything and yet have time. No. Even bishops, when they are going to preach, they read, they prepare before they go. You are learning. Why are you telling me you don't have time? When do you sleep? I sleep typically after midnight. 4:30, I'm up. When we were discussing it. If he says after 6 o'clock today or thereabout, to try and sleep. I told me if I sleep at 6, by 11 I'll be up. I can't sleep again. Hey, Anya Fufuleo, entrepreneur, as he said, you are a transporter. When you see a call from your driver, your heart thumps like that. Why would he be calling you around midnight? I check insurance and expired 3 days ago.
Brought to you by Africa School of Entrepreneurship and supported by GCB Bank.